Hello again and welcome to your psychic reading, psychic tarot reading for Friday the 21st of June 2019 for 7 days. If you've been with me before, you'll know how this works. I have 4 stacks of cards here from one old tarot deck divided into 4 packs, 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are numbered 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'd like you to choose a number. Maybe you like this one because it has a crystal on it, or you like the look of that one, or it's just a feeling inside. Choose your number and that will be your number for your private, for your general psychic reading, psychic tarot reading today. While you choose your deck, you can pause the video if you like, or you can wait about 10 seconds while I run the credits. See you in a second. Hello again, thank you for being patient and thank you for staying with me. I hope you've chosen your deck of cards from 1, 2, 3 or 4. First of all, I'd like to apologise for missing last week. I had an infection, chest infection, and you wouldn't want to hear me coughing and sneezing, so I left last week out. But here we go today. This is a reading for the 21st of June, Friday the 21st of June, for 7 days. If you chose number 1, this one's for you. And thank you for you joining me, especially if you're alone today or lonely. Let's give these a shuffle. These are old cards, many years old, and thousands of readings all over the world with all of these decks of cards. And let's take a look at your next 7 days. Please consider subscribing to my site, my YouTube channel, and sharing me and clicking like and all that stuff. And if you click the bell icon, you'll be notified every time I release a new video. So, this is a general reading. It won't apply to all of you, but it will apply to you, and you'll know if it does, if it's part of your feeling today. First of all, some of you have a problem with your yin and yang. There is an imbalance with yin and yang. Yin and yang often mentioned by acupuncturists and people like that. These are the energies that flow through us, theoretically, like when you put a plug on an electrical appliance, positive and negative energies. These energies flow through all of us and they need to be in balance, and if they're not in balance, it's usually caused by stress, and of course it will cause stress as well. If your yin and yang's out of balance, you may feel like you're being pulled all over the place, that everybody wants a piece of you and you're trying to help everybody and be in 10 places at once, and of course you can't do that. If your yin and yang is out of balance, it will affect your sleeping patterns, it may affect your habits, you may develop bad habits. It will affect your thought processes, your self-confidence and all kinds of other things. So if your yin and yang is out of balance, you'll feel it. You may feel a bit torn or a bit all over the place next week. And the way to cure that is to relax, of course, because having yin and yang in balance will cause stress, and stress will cause an imbalanced yin and yang. You have a vicious cycle. The negatives for you next week indicate to me that some of you, number 1, are not looking after yourselves. So you may be overdoing it, taking on too much, and it's time for you to have a break. And I always say, if you can get some peace and silence, it's good for you as well. There may be some jealousy around you, number 1. It seems, especially if you're one of the ladies out there, there could be a bit of bitchiness around you. And I think you've had it in the past, a lot of you. So you're quite used to it, but you don't always know it's going on. But there may be some jealousy, a bit of backstabbing around. Quite common in these readings, it happens all the time. And the message, of course, don't tell all the people all your business all of the time. Keep yourself private, unless you know the people very well and you know you can trust them, of course. Don't be paranoid, but watch out for some jealousy next week. Excuse me. Maybe a little bit of backstabbing and people envious of your position. Maybe your skills, maybe your beauty and your looks. A lot of you have a spirit guide around you next week. One of your main spirit guides, it seems to be someone a little bit older than you, who's with you next week. You'll have spirit guides with you all the time, of course you will. And you'll have many, many of them. But some of them are with you more than others. Some are more, might say important than others, but more profound than others. And possibly close relatives that you may have lost, even before you were born, some of you. So there may be a spirit guide around you. In fact, there may be a spirit guide around you as we speak right now in the room where you are, because they may have got you to watch this video. Spiritualism, or you may feel psychic and spiritual next week. Some of you will of course have the gift anyway, and it may be a sign for you to develop it and use it a little bit more, particularly next week. But you don't have that many negatives, number one. A lot of you are highly skilled. Some of you have all the elements, and that's earth, wind, fire and water. If you have all the elements, then you're a very special person and a very lucky person. You may meet someone who is quite similar next week, and it seems to be that you'll get on very well, you'll hit it off because you both have all of the elements. This won't apply to all of you, as I said. It is a general reading, similar to when you read the stars in the newspapers. If you want a proper psychic reading with me, please go to davidcharlespsychic.com. That's my website, and you'll see it on the credits at the end of this video. And you can ring me for a psychic reading from anywhere on the planet, a proper psychic reading using all the divination tools and spirit guides. This really is a general psychic reading, and it's telling me, number one, that you got to look after yourselves, that you need to take a break, go and be pampered and spoiled for a while, go to the cinema, have your nails done if you're girls, or your hair done, be pampered and spoiled. Some of you are highly skilled in your work, and it will show next week, because you're not always appreciated, or you don't feel you are. Next week you may feel that you're actually appreciated for the work you do. And your appreciation will be shown, well, it'll be looked at and made obvious or apparent to you by a man. So you may find that somebody at work is actually saying something nice to you for a change. If you work for yourself, you will be appreciated for your skills. You are looking very highly skilled, some of you, and you'll be sought after next week for your work, and you'll be also meeting someone who is, as I said, similar to you if you're spiritual and you're having a bit of a psychic week next week. One or two of you will be contacting professional people for advice. This could be solicitors, marriage guidance counsellors, people like that. Maybe people like accountants, not legal people as in the law with police officers and that sort of thing, but you may be dealing with people who are experts in their field, people who are consultants that you pay for their advice. That again won't apply to all of you, but some of you next week will be seeking out advice, and it's mainly from men, from males. Not always, there'll be some ladies as well. One or two of you will be meeting a new lover next week, but I feel that it's not destined to be the actual one, your soulmate. In fact, one or two of you may be meeting someone from your past. And that applies to most readings, psychic reading. The spirit world normally don't advise that you go backwards. You can be friends, but don't really go back to old lovers from the past. That applies to almost every reading. And this one is no exception, number one. Now, number one, you have some lucky numbers. So if you want to get a pen, you can do so. But I'll tell you your lucky numbers for next week, starting June the 21st, Friday, this week. And your lucky numbers are number 9, 19, 24, 33. Your magic number, your special lucky number next week is 34. And you have then 43. So your lucky numbers next week are 9, 19, 24, 33, 34 is your magic number, your special number, and then 43. I'll give you those again in a few moments before we end this. So summing up, number one, there's not a lot going on next week. It's not exciting, but there's nothing scary either. There may be a bit of backstabbing around, a bit of jealousy. Some of you are consulting spiritualists and psychic people. Some of you are very heavily into this anyway and may do readings of your own, which is good. A lot of you have a problem with your yin and yang. You may feel a bit torn or pulled, or that you're taking on too much, and you have difficulty in saying no to people. You can't say yes to people all of the time. A lot of you will be meeting people spiritual, similar to yourself, or are into spiritual things, mediumship, possibly healing as well. You may be dealing with acupuncturists or healers or Reiki practitioners. If you take it easy next week, you should be okay, number one. You're definitely into a spiritual week, and one of your main spirit guides will be with you quite a lot of next week. It's an older person who passed away at some point in your past. It may even be before you were born. And as I said, you may be seeking out advice from professional consultants, solicitors, maybe estate agents, surveyors, accountants, people like that. I don't think they're into this kind of thing. That is a separate person altogether. So number one, not a bad week for you next week. I'll give you your lucky numbers again. And they are number 9, 19, 24, 33, and your magic number, your special number next week is 34. Remember that, maybe the house number that you live in, it may be something special. 34 is a good one for you next week. And your other lucky number is 43. So summing up, it's not a bad week, number one. It's not too eventful, there's not too much going on. There's no warnings or scariness, nothing to be frightened of next week. But you do need to take it easy. And remember, please subscribe to this channel, click like, and if you click the bell icon, which is up there somewhere or down there, you'll be notified every time I upload a new video, which is normally every week, but as I said last week, I wasn't too good, so you didn't want me sneezing and coughing on this recording. So thank you, number one, for listening and for watching this, and please share me with your friends. So let's take a look now at number 2. If you chose number 2, this is for you. Okay, take the crystal off there, put that over there, give it a shuffle. As I always say, they've been shuffled once. If you ram the tape onto number 2, thank you for joining me. Please consider subscribing to my channel. And we'll take a look at your reading for next week, a general psychic tarot reading for the week commencing Friday, 21st of June 2019. Welcome to my lovely place in beautiful Devon in the UK in England, where it's been raining now for about a week or more. Some of the countries have floods, as you may know if you live here. But wherever you are in the world, if you want a proper psychic reading, a full psychic reading with me, go to my website, davidcharlespsychic.com, and you'll see that on the credits at the end of this video. So number 2, these are shuffled now. Let's take a look at your reading for the week ahead, starting on Friday. Good week for those of you who have children. A good week for those of you who are expecting a baby or twins, and I do think some of you out there are expecting twins. So if you're pregnant at the moment, you may be having more than one baby, since you may not already know that. There are signs of some confusion around you. Number 2, maybe confusion around your earthly life, which can mean the way you live your normal day-to-day routine life, like your work situation, for instance. There may be some confusion, maybe some bickering at work. You may find that people are not getting on too well. There may be bickering, confusion around your home life, around your family life. Maybe you're not getting on with your brothers and sisters, your relatives this week coming up, and it's something that has to be done. You've got to sort of put up with it and hope that things improve the following week. You can always get a reading off me the following week by tuning into this channel, hopefully, if I don't catch another cold. It's new beginnings and endings next week, number 2. It's a very important week, more so than number 1. Number 1 was a bit, not much going on, but number 2, there's a lot going on. For a start off, there's trickery around you, there's deceit around you next week, and it's from someone not very old. So if somebody's trying to sell you things or talk you into things, be very careful. You've been tricked before and you don't want to be tricked again. I can pick up trickery and deceit, number 2, around you a lot next week. Don't be paranoid, I always say that, but don't be paranoid. Don't mistrust everybody, but don't trust everyone you meet either. If someone knocks on the door selling things, don't buy it. That's a terrible example, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Now then, there are new beginnings next week, which means also that you're coming to the end of an era. Some of you may be packing up smoking, or packing up your job, giving up your lover. Some of you may be giving up your marriage or thinking about it. That's quite drastic, but you're giving up something next week, and it's the end of an era, and you're starting a brand new phase. Some people think that phases come in 7-year cycles. I think they're quite more frequent than that. But it's a good week if you're packing up something or stopping something, if you've been thinking about stopping something for a long time, next week you may actually get around to doing it. And when you do, you're starting a brand new phase. So quite exciting times. As I said earlier, there may be confusion around your career and around your earthly life, the way you earn your living, the day-to-day basic structure of your life may have some confusion. There is trickery around you and deceit. On the positive side, great week for those of you with children, a great week for those of you with babies, young children, and there are some signs of new romantic offers for lots of you, not for all of you. As I often say, you'll know in this reading the bits, parts of this reading that apply to you. There are offers of romance for lots of you. Some of you will be swept off your feet, and it may be that you'll receive an offer of romance from someone you quite fancied for quite some time. At last, they're making their move, and if they don't make their move next week, then you may need to do it yourself, because romance is in the air and you'd be ashamed to miss it. I'm not saying that you're going to meet your soulmate or that you're going to ride off into the sunset on a white horse, but there is romance in the air. It's not the most romantic week you've ever had, but it's nice because it's good for your self-confidence, it's good for your ego that somebody quite fancies you, and let's hope it's someone you quite fancy back as well. New beginnings next week. You're dealing with money as well. Some of you will be seeing bankers, some of you will be seeing accountants, some of you will be mixing with wealthy people. A lot of you will be mixing with wealthy people. Some of you have money coming next week. Not all of you, but some of you do. It's a good time for a little flutter next week if you gamble, but don't overdo it, as I always say. And I'll give you your lucky numbers in a minute, so they will come in handy for that as well. Expect the unexpected at work. Expect people to get the wrong orders, the wrong phone numbers, the wrong information. Expect the unexpected at work, and you're quite capable of dealing with it, so don't worry about it. It is the end of an era. Part of your life, number 2, will end next week and it will never return. This can mean moving house, it can be moving jobs, it can be moving from one romance to another, it can be moving out of a romance, which can take a bit of courage and bravery. You may decide, and I'm not telling you should, but you may decide to end a romance, and even some of you may be thinking of leaving home or leaving the situation that you find overpowering or over the top. So a good week for new beginnings, a great week for new beginnings, and as I always say, life is about timing. This may not apply the following week. Bear that in mind. If you're going to change something, if you've been wanting to change something for a long time, it's all about timing, and next week is the best week, especially on Tuesday next week, by the way. Tuesday next week is a good day for changing things. Wednesday, you may start new things. So these are not desperately important days, but they are the best days for changing. Tuesday is a good day for ending. If you want to move out or move on, do it on Tuesday. And you may start your new beginning on Wednesday next week. Some of you, as I said, will be getting pregnant next week. Some of you already are. But there are births next week. Births don't just mean babies, it's the birth of new things. Let's give you your lucky numbers. You may want to get a pen. And your lucky numbers for next week, number 2, are number 1. Your magic number, your special lucky number next week is number 11. Now number 11 may be significant for you. You may know exactly what I mean, but number 11 is your best number next week, number 2. And your number 2, that's not a lucky number. Then you have number 34, 36, 44 and 50. These are your lucky numbers. I'll give them you again. That's number 1. Your special number, your magic number next week is number 11. Then 34, 36, 44 and 50. They're your best numbers next week, number 2. Write them down because they may be important. You may know why some of them are important. So expect romance or offers of romance. They may not amount to much, but it's nice. It depends how you feel about it. Expect confusion, and definitely next week expect to be deceived and cheated or tricked. You won't be, because I've warned you not to be. Don't trust everyone around you, especially young characters who appear to have the gift of the gab. They're good at talking, they're good at selling things. Don't be fooled. As I said, don't mistrust everybody, but be careful who you trust next week, especially if people are trying to sell you things or part you from your money and your finances. It's the end of an era for you next week, number 2. Things are changing. It's out with the old, in with the new, almost like New Year's Eve. And I'll give you your lucky numbers again in case you didn't have a pen, and they are number 1. Your magic number, your star number is number 11. Then 34, 36, 44 and 50. They are your lucky numbers, number 2, for next week. Bear them in mind. If you can't remember them, run the tape back. And thank you for listening, number 2. Please subscribe or consider subscribing to my channel. Please click like, make some comments underneath. I'll always answer them if you comment. And if you click the bell icon, you'll receive notice every time I upload a new video, which is usually once a week. So thank you, number 2. And special thank you if you're alone watching this or if you're lonely. That was number 2. We've done number 1 and 2. And we're going to do number 3, which is this one here. If you chose this one here, this is for you after this 10-second break. See you in a second. Bye-bye. Hello again, welcome back. Thank you for waiting for me. If you chose number 3, this is for you. This is your deck. You may have run the tape onto here, so if you did, thank you. And a special thank you for those of you who are alone or lonely today. Please consider subscribing to my channel and sharing me, that's good, sharing me with your friends as well. Here's a shuffle. They've been shuffled already, but we'll shuffle them again just for you, number 3. And we'll see what we have in store for the week commencing Friday, 21st of June 2019, for 7 days. If you've been with me before, you'll know how this works. So number 3, this is for you. This is a general psychic tarot reading. If you want a proper full-length reading from anywhere in the world, please go to my website, davidcharlespsychic.com, and I'll be there for you. You can call me from anywhere on the planet for a proper psychic reading. This is a general reading, a little bit like when you read the stars in the newspapers. It won't apply to all of you, but it will apply to lots of you, and you'll know if it's you. Things are speeding up for you next week, number 3. Things are taking off. And you're entering the fast lane, so be ready. Be ready for things to take off. Be ready for new events, new adventures, especially if it's linked to your career. Things are going to go fast. And that will include everything around your work, whether it's orders, being told what to do, or if you're in business, knowing what to do. You may be rushed off your feet, and you will get lots of communication as well. And that'll be letters, phone calls, text messages, emails, that sort of thing. Fast and furious activity next week. But let me tell you some of the negatives. And your main negative next week could involve losing something. And of course it won't, because I've warned you not to let it. So be careful with valuables, with money, with investments, and keep things locked and safe. Don't lend people money or possessions because you'll lose them. This often comes up in readings. But it's nice to have a reading to be warned when these things are about to happen, because they will happen next week if you're not careful. Keep your doors locked. And if you're driving the car, keep the doors locked, especially these days. Some of you are doing a bit of a balancing act with your finances next week. That doesn't mean that you're in trouble with money, but you may be sorting it out, robbing Peter to pay Paul, sorting out your finances next week, and it may be a good thing because you'll feel better when you've done it. A lot of you are in a bit of a pause next week. I always say a bit like when you pause your DVD player or your video. Your life seems to go into a pause next week, not for all of you, but for some of you. And you may feel that nothing's going on. So you've got two extremes here. Some of you, things are going to go mad and take off and go wild and speed up significantly, especially around your work. And some of you will find the opposite, where things are not moving. Well, they feel like they're not moving, but they are. They're moving underneath. It's an undercurrent of movement. As I say, always say, you planted the seeds of life and you're waiting for them to grow. And next week it may feel like that for some of you. So you're one extreme or the other. As I said, there may be a loss, so watch it. Keep things safe. Lots of you next week will be travelling, and lots of you will be travelling overseas. And if you're not travelling overseas next week, then next week is a good time to book something. As I always say in these readings, life is about timing. and next week it's a good week to travel. And I think a lot of it's for your personal good. Some of you will be travelling because of your work, and some of you travel because of your work all the time anyway. But some of you will be travelling for pleasure next week, or you'll be booking something and it may be linked to the coast and the sea. So, good week for that. Some of you next week will be thinking about buying property or moving property, and you may have been thinking about this for quite some time. Especially those of you with families or children. If you can choose a week to move and you've chosen next week, it's a great week. But if you can't move next week, of course lots of you can't, next week's a great week for sorting it out and organising it. If you're going to put your house on the market, try and arrange it next week. You may not be able to do it next week, but arrange it next week. Sort it out next week. If you're planning on moving next week, it's a great week to do it. The following week, that may not apply. Anything to do with movement next week, including holidays, is really positive and should bring happiness. Now then, some of you next week, number 3, are feeling defensive because you've been let down by people. Now this may apply to some of you having been let down in romantic situations, let down in love. And that will mean that you're defensive and that you're keeping people at arm's length, especially when it comes to romance. So, if you have been let down in love, you will be feeling defensive next week, and it may be an idea for you to lower your guard just a little bit, because you don't want to be lonely forever. Of course, at the same time, you don't want to let the wrong people in either. But you may feel a bit defensive next week when it comes to romance and love. Some of you next week are also ignoring things that you should be dealing with. That's not a good thing either. If things need your attention next week, number 3, deal with them. Otherwise, they're going to get on your nerves. Look out for losses, as I said. Don't gamble too much. Don't lend people money or possessions. You'll lose them. You may have to sort out your finances. You may have to do a juggling act with your finances. Some of you may be moving about, travelling. Things may be speeding up, and the other half of you, things will be the opposite, and things will go very slowly and can be irritating. Don't get irritated, because it may be that things are slowing down because the spirit world want you to take it easy. Some of you do get stressed, and that applies in almost every reading I do for everyone on the planet. Stress is the order of the day at the moment. Keeping stress levels down is a good thing if you can do it. So number 3, you have some lucky numbers, and you may want to get a pen. If not, you can run the tape back and listen to it again. I'll give you your lucky numbers for next week, number 3. This is for June the 21st, Friday, June the 21st, for 7 days, and your lucky numbers are 22. Your magic number, your star number, is 23. And you may know what that number means. It may be significant for you. Then you have 39, 45, 47 and 49. These are your lucky numbers next week, number 3, for June 21st, 2019, for 7 days. If you're doing lotteries or anything like that, they're good numbers for you. So, just sum it up a bit. You may be playing the waiting game, and then you may find that things take off completely. So, they may both apply to you. Some of you will be waiting around for things to happen. Some of you will find the opposite, that you're flying and things are taking off and you're entering a faster pace of life, especially around your work. You may find lots of communication coming your way, number 3, letters, phone calls, text messages, emails, all that kind of thing. There are no bad warnings in this, number 3, except that you could lose something. That's what would concern me. It's not much of a lovey-dovey week. Some of you are being very romantically defensive next week because you're fed up with being hurt. And that's not just romance. You may be fed up with being hurt by friends, by family, people letting you down, people saying they'll be there for you and they never are. When you feel that they've been giving you fake hope and fake friendship sometimes. You'll be sorting out your finances. You may be robbing Peter to pay Paul. Lots of you will be travelling for holidays or booking holidays next week. Number 3, it's a good week for that sort of thing. And it's a great week for those of you with children. And if you're single parents and split up from your partner, then you may find it's a good week for meeting up again so that you can both spend time with the children. Of course, some people don't like doing that once they've split up, but you can't really spite the children when it comes to these kind of things, especially next week. So if you want to meet up with your ex and share the children for the weekend, it may be a good time to make up things, not probably repair the romance, but put things back into perspective. Because when you split up from people, it can get a bit nasty, of course. So I do see a lot of problems in the past for some of you who have split up from your lovers and there are children involved, but I think next week's a good week for anything to do with children and families if you chose number 3. I'll give you your lucky numbers again, number 3, and they are 22. Your magic number, your star number is 23. Write that down. Then you have 39, 45, 47 and 49. They're your lucky numbers, number 3, for the week commencing Friday the 21st of June for 7 days. Wherever you are in this world, I'm here for you. If you want a proper psychic reading, this is a general psychic tarot reading. If you want a proper psychic reading, please go to my website, davidcharlespsychic.com. You'll see that at the end, and I'll try and link it below for you as well if I can work out how to do it. So that's your reading number 3 for next week. Hope you enjoyed it. Special thank you for you if you're all alone watching this, or if you're lonely. You can always come to me on here. If you get fed up, you can watch my videos. And I do think about a lot of you if you're lonely. So that was number 3. And if you ran it on to number 4, or if you waited patiently number 4, this is your stack here. Excuse me. Let's take a look at the week ahead for those of you who chose number 4. I'll just shuffle these once again. They've been shuffled once, of course. And we'll take a look at the week ahead, number 4, for 7 nights. Please consider subscribing to my channel and sharing it with your friends and making some comments below, because I'll always answer them. And click like, and if you click the bell icon, you will receive notifications every time I upload a new video, which is normally once a week. I missed last week, as I did say, because I had a cold and didn't want to be coughing and spluttering on your video for you. You may catch it. So, number 4, the week commencing June 21st, 2019, for 7 days. And you have some interesting things going on. Some of you have dodgy people around you, particularly if you're female. There seems to be some nasty woman or women around you. As I say all the time, don't be paranoid, but watch out for females who could be a bit spiteful behind your back. They could be a bit spiteful to your face as well. Some of you look a bit down next week, number 4. I don't want to put a negative reading your way, but some of you, not all of you, are feeling a bit depressed, and that's probably the wrong word, but you feel a bit fed up. And some of you will be looking back at your past mistakes and wishing you could do things again and do them differently. But of course you can't. All you can do with the past is learn from it and look forward to the future by having a psychic reading with me, davidcharlespsychic.com. No, seriously, if you're looking back at the past, it's not going to do you any good. You need to go forward. You can't change what's happened in the past. It's no good saying, I wish I could go back and change it, because you can't. Of course, some of you may want to wish to go back because it was such a wonderful time and you met your first girlfriend or boyfriend and you fell in love. So you'll be thinking about the past and reminiscing. It's a lovely thing if you are, but it is the future that counts. So watch out for stress. There is some stress around you, which will affect your sleeping patterns, of course. It will affect your eating patterns. And while I'm on the subject, it's a great week next week for starting diets. If any of you want to start new diets, whether it's to lose weight or just to eat more healthily, next week's a great week to do it. It's all about timing. If you want to start something new, anything new next week, it's good, but particularly altering your eating habits. Now there seems to be somebody, number 4, who's worried about you. It could be your mum, it could be your friends, it could be your dad. Somebody, in some of you, not all of you, but some of you have a person who is worried about you genuinely. So they must care a lot about you, okay? I can't see a reason why they're worried about you, except that some of you look a bit down in the dumps and a bit, well, fed up really. I won't use the word depressed, but it can mean that sometimes. Some of you are not seeing the wood for the trees, you're not seeing things clearly. You need to step back and talk about it to yourself as if you're talking to a friend, and listen to yourself and listen to what you're saying, because you're not seeing things clearly. I don't think you have reason to feel too down, most of you. Some of you will, of course, but a lot of you are feeling down in the dumps for no reason. I can see that lots of you, number 4, have had a tough time recently. In fact, lots of you, number 4, have had a tough time all of your life. And this is a very eventful reading. I've done 1, 2 and 3, but number 4 is there's a lot going on, number 4, next week for you. Some of you may be deceived by females, or at the wrong end of nastiness from females. Some of you may be finding that a lady or a man is worried about you. This person worried about you is almost certainly a person who has a love of animals, by the way. Lots of you are making life far more difficult than it should be. I always say you're pushing water uphill and getting nowhere. You can't be in 10 places at once, so don't try, please. It's not as bad as it seems. I think when you look at this channel next week, your reading for the following week will have improved. It's not all doom and gloom. Just because someone's worried about you doesn't mean they have reason to. Now, lots of you, number 4, will be having a psychic time next week, particularly in your dreams. So, what I want you to do is take a pen and paper to bed, a notepad, and write down your dreams, if you can remember them, but particularly write down dreams if they're repetitive. Repetitive dreams are important. If the spirit guides repeat your dreams, it's because they're trying to get messages through and you're not getting it, so they keep repeating it. Repetitive dreams will be coded, they'll be a mess, sometimes mixed up and jumbled up, and you won't know what they mean. But if you write them down, you may find that the meaning will come to you a few days later when you're walking along or waiting for the bus or washing the dishes. The meaning will come to you eventually. So there's a lot of psychic activity around you, number 4. Some of you won't believe in it, of course, especially the men out there. But you must believe in some of it or you wouldn't be watching this video. So, don't get down in the dumps, number 4. Watch out for some nastiness, almost certainly from a woman or from more than one woman. It could be a mother-in-law, it could be someone at work, it could be someone you mix with at the local pub or club. Be careful. Don't get overdoing it. Please don't try to take on too much, especially next week. It'd be okay perhaps the week after, but not next week. Don't get crying over spilt milk. And I'll give you, number 4, your lucky numbers for next week. If you've got a pen there, for Friday the 21st of June for 7 days, 2019. And your lucky numbers are number 9, number 18. Your magic number, your special star number, is number 22. So write down number 22. You may find that you know why that number is significant. Some of you will. Maybe the number you live at, your address. Then you have 36, number 40 and 41. These are your lucky numbers, special numbers for you for next week, for lotteries and pools, coupons and bingo, whatever you're doing, or just for choices, and you'll know what they mean. I'll give them you again in a moment. So, just to sum up, there's a lady or a man around you that could be a bit spiteful, and there could be more than one of them. It's most certainly female. So be careful with women that could be nasty. There may be some bullying going on. Don't stand for bullying. Don't let people push you around, because you may have had that in the past. Lots of you, I can see, have not had it easy recently, and I do think that after next week is over, things will improve for you. Tune in next week to this channel and we'll see. But if you're looking at the past, look at it with the fond memories. Don't look at the past with regrets, because it wasn't all doom and gloom. Think about Christmases when you were a kid, Christmas Day, what you were wearing, what your presents were. Think of nice memories, especially if you can't sleep at night. If you're laying awake at night, at any time, and you can't sleep, think of a memory from the past, a nice one. Birthday, wedding day, Christmas Day. Go through the day with your eyes closed. You'll be asleep before you know it. And that's a promise. It really does work. Don't overdo it next week, number 4, because you tend to overdo it sometimes. It is a psychic week for some of you. A psychic week, especially for your dreams. So write down your dreams, particularly if they're repetitive. And remember, there's a person who's worried about you. I don't know why, but try it, if you know who it is, try and reassure them that you're okay, because they may be worried. I'm sure you know what I mean, some of you. I'll give you your lucky numbers again, number 4. They are number 9, 18, your magic number, your star number is 22, okay? Remember that. 22 will be important for you. Then you have 36, 40 and 41. These are your special numbers starting Friday the 21st of June 2019 for 7 days. They'll be good for lotteries, pools, coupons if you still do those kind of things. And they're magic numbers, and you'll know why, some of you. Remember, next week may be a bit fraught, it may be a bit on the gloomy side for some of you, not for all of you, don't expect bad things. But I think the following week will get better. Don't overdo it. Remember, you've had it tough in the past, things can only get better for some of you. It will be a spiritual week in your dreams, and if you're not feeling too good, the dream time is a healing time for you. So, thank you for listening to me, number 4. I'll give you your lucky numbers again. That's 9, 18, your magic number is 22, 36, 40 and 41. They're your lucky numbers for next week, Friday the 21st of June, for 7 days. And thank you for joining me, all of you tonight, or today, whenever it is you join me. Special thank you for those of you who are lonely or alone. I'm always here for you if you want to tune in. And please subscribe to my channel. Please share me with your friends. And I'll look forward to seeing you next week. And please, as I said earlier, click the bell icon and you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you make some comments below, I'll answer them, I promise. So it's lovely to see you all, and I hope you enjoyed that reading from me. And I'll see you, hopefully, next week. Take care. Bye-bye.